All right. So I'm recording this video to talk about some basic Linux commands. So the idea here is that to do labs and to do some homeworks, we need to access a remote server, and the operating system of that server is Linux. So we need to be familiar with some of the basic commands so that we can interact with the server. We need to feel comfortable with the environment. So I am recording this video. I should share my screen also. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Screen, Windows, screen is the option. All right. So the first thing that you need to do is, if you are on Mac or you are on Windows, the steps will be different. So that is, the details are provided in this folder, lab related folder. So this is hardware systems, lab web page, and then if you look at course contents and then go to lab related, click on that, then you'll find a bunch of information related to how to access a server computer from your own machine, right? So you may have a desktop, you may have a laptop, right? Depending on what you have, you want to connect to a remote server. So I assume that you'd have already done the steps listed in MSCSnet login form. So you have a username and then you have a password. And if you have those two things, you'll be able to log into a server. And there are a bunch of materials available here for you to read. So this web page over here gives you some basic commands. So this website is useful. And then this is the PowerPoint that I will use now in order to illustrate the basic commands. So it's called Linux Commands PowerPoint presentation. There are more details available in this page that I created for this class. It tells you if you have a Windows, you need to install PuTTY. If you have a Mac, then you're good with SSH. So follow these instructions, because depending on your server, there are two options. And there are some links, YouTube videos, very, very short videos and to the point on how to use, some graphical software to access a server. Okay, so I'll cover that later on. So my machine is a Mac machine, so I'll type something like a terminal. Click on that, so it opens a terminal. In Windows also you have some PowerShell which you can use. So on my Mac machine, what I'll do is I want to connect to the server that we use for labs. So how do we do that? So Control L, clear my screen. So I need to do SSH. So SSH username and then at pascal.mscsnet.edu. So this is my username at host name, and then I have to give my password. So let me remember my password. It looks like I forgot my password, so I'll use some other server. Control C. I'll use Everest instead. host name is everest.mscsnet.emu.edu. So as you can see, it's very important to remember your password. It's better to write it down somewhere. And there my username is Satish. And let me use the one where I remember the password. So I remember the password of PDC shared account. So there are many different user accounts. I'm using PDC shared. And here the password is Market Rocks. All right, so I logged into this server. So I assume you logged into Pascal server. If you have some technical problem logging into Pascal server, then you need to let me know and I'll get the problem resolved. All right, so the first command is ls. Okay, so what does ls do? It shows me, what are the files and directories. So directories are folders. So the things that you see in blue here are directories. All right. So ls is to listing of files and directories. Directories in you can type ls anywhere. Now the second thing that we want to know is pwd. This is the second command. Okay. pwd. So what does pwd do? It shows present working directories. So it's like, where am I in this machine? Which folder am I currently in? And that says that you are under root, home, and then PDC shared folder. So you can do pwd, present working directory, anywhere. Okay. Now just for practice, we will we'll try some commands. Okay. So first command is, the third command is mkdir. So this is like make directory. Okay. If you do mkdir, you want to make a directory. So give a name to your directory. So let me give the name of the directory as Linux. So mkdir Linux. Now let's see if it worked or not. So we'll do ls. So this created a new folder or a directory called Linux. Right? So you see the difference here. Linux was not there. I did mkdir Linux and it created Linux. Okay. Now the fourth command that we'll use is called cd. So cd stands for change directory. So if you have to change a directory, to change a folder, then you use cd. Okay. So we created this folder Linux. So let's go inside Linux. So cd Linux, and you can see the prompt here. This change. So previously it was showing this tilde sign. So that's for home directory. After doing cd Linux, this directory changed from home to Linux, right? So we see that change. Now let's do ls. So list what are the files and directories inside Linux. And since this is a newly created folder, we don't have anything. Okay, so let's practice one more time the mkdir command. Let's say we want to create a folder called lab1. Okay, so mkdir lab1 and do ls. Then you get lab1, right? So you created a folder. Now you can also practice pwd. Now it shows home pdc share / p Linux. So you are inside Linux, right? You created this folder, you are here. So this is called a path. So the thing that I'm highlighting here is called a path. So path is basically, starts from \, then folder, inside another folder, inside another folder. That's a path. Okay, this is called absolute path. All right, now we know bunch of commands, right? So we looked at ls, that is list the files. We looked at pwd, which is present working directory. Then we practiced mkdir, which is to create a directory. And then we practiced cd, which is change directory. So let's do cd more. What if you want to go back to your home folder? How do you do that? So we'll do cd ... So cd ... means go one step back. So let's type that, enter. So we go back to our home directory, and we can verify that by typing pwd And then it shows that the present working directory has changed to home PDC shares, right? So this is go back. All right, do ls. So we have a lot of folders here. If you want to go to the instructor account, instructor folder, how will you do that? Which command will you use? If I have to go inside the instructor folder and see what are the files and directories inside it. All right, so the options are, will you do ls instructor, or you'll do cd instructor, or you'll do pwd. So there are three options. All right, so the answer for this question is cd directory. You'll change directory to instructor. All right, so do ls. So you see there are a bunch of folders inside instructor directory. All right, now what you do, if you have to go back to your home folder, you again do cd dot dot. All right, so we learned about a bunch of commands, and hopefully this will help. One more command that is useful is move. Okay, so let's practice move. So move stands for, MV stands for move. That's the command, like move a file from one location to another location. Okay, so let's practice this command. So we'll go to Linux folder, and there is a lab1 folder, right? So let's create lab2 as well, mkdir lab2. So now there are two folders, lab1 and lab2. Let's go inside lab1, cd lab1, and let's create a file here. Okay, just to practice the move command and later copy command. So let's create a file. So nano is an editor which lets you create a file, write a document. So nano program dot c. Let's say you created a file called program.c, and let's write down a simple C program here using this editor. All right, so we finished writing it, so we'll save it using Control O. This is the write out. This caret sign is shortcut for control, so Control O. It's not 0, it's O. Control O, enter, then exit. You want to exit now. So this is our file, so Control X. All right. Do ls, you'll find a program.c appeared here. That's the command that's what you created. If you want to inspect what is in program.c, you can also do cat program.c. So it will show you what is inside the file, right? Now we want to practice, how to use move command, like move a file from one directory to another directory. All right. So currently you are inside Linux lab1. Okay. So if you have to copy this, move this file, so you'll write move, then source, and then destination. So this is the syntax. So move source location or path to destination location. That's the syntax of the command. Okay, just remember that, source to destination. So the source would be the whole thing, and then we have a program.c. And what would be the destination? The destination would be, let's say lab2. Lab2 is the destination. Okay, so let's type that out, lab2. I copy pasted. So what I intend to do is I want to copy, or move actually, not copy, move program.c from this location lab1 to location lab2. All right. So when I do ls, I don't see program.c because program.c has already been removed to lab2. Okay. So now I want to check, right? So I want to go to lab2 and then check. So I'll just copy this path here. So home PDC shared Linux lab2, change directory to this location, and then do ls. I see program.c now under lab2. So This is how move command works. All right. So it basically does not copy, it moves. So copy command is a little bit different, because if you issued a copy command, then it should not have been deleted from lab 1. So that would be the difference. Okay, let me copy this file that I see here, program.c, to lab 1. Okay, this is just to practice. So cp is for copy, and here also the syntax is same, source to destination. So first we specify what is the origin, or what is the source, and then we specify what is the destination, right? So if you do that, we'll be able to work with copy, right? So I want to do copy lab2 program.c, and then I want to copy it to lab 1. All right, so I can do like this, enter, and now I'll go to lab 1 and see that lab 1 also has program.c. So the copy command succeeded. Okay, you could do pwd, it shows the full path. You do ls, you get program.c. So we have seen a couple of important Linux commands. So we saw ls, then we saw mkdir, then we saw cd, we saw nano, which is to create a file. We saw examples of cd dot dot. We saw mv to move. We saw pwd, present working directory, and finally we saw copy command. So there is similarity between move and copy commands, and there is a difference as well. All right, so these commands are very useful to work on a Linux machine. So what I have so far shown is using a Windows machine. Using a MacBook, which looks similar to Linux machine. All right, if you had a Windows machine, then please follow my notes on how to access a server computer for this class, and please follow this step. It tells you to use PuTTY. It tells you how to download PuTTY if you don't have a PuTTY software. And then it also gives you a video about how to transfer file from your machine, your computer, to the lab's computer. That means the server on Windows and also on MacBook. So if you have a MacBook, install Cyberduck, and I have a video link about Cyberduck, how to use it. All right, so I can actually show you Cyberduck because I have Cyberduck software and I use MacBook. Cyberduck. So this is the software. You'll just click on open connection, change this FTP to SFTP, and server would be pascal.mscsnet.mu.edu. No need to change the port number. You'll give your username and password and then say connect. Now I have forgotten my password. So I'll just show you how to connect to Everest, and the process is same. Everest and the username pdc_share, password is market rocks. All right, so when I do connect, I can see the same folder structure. So it is helpful to see this folder structure. So when I was showing you, how to work with this Linux machine, I created this folder Linux, and then I created lab1, and I was showing you how to create a file program.c using nano, and then to transfer it or move it to lab2. Then I showed you how to use a copy command by moving program.c back to lab1. And in case you are not entirely sure about what is a path is, if you talk about this program.c, the path would be, how do you reach this file starting from, the root folder, the first folder. So part of the path is here, Linux lab1 program.c, and it's also shown here /home pdc shared, and after that you have Linux and then lab1 then program.c. That would be the full path. Okay. All right. So hopefully this helps. Well, yeah, I think I've not told you the whole thing here because I started this Cyberduck software to show that you can move contents back and forth from your machine to the server machine. All right, so I'll give you an example here. All right, so the example would be, this folder is in my desktop. This file, the folder Linux, and it has a PowerPoint presentation, pptx, Linux commands pptx. If I have to like move this file to the server, what I'll do is just drag and drop here. All right, so I did a drag and drop, and you see that this PPT, came to this location, and the location here is /home /pdc shared. Okay. Now, if you have to move it inside Linux, you'll just drag and drop. So this is, move. Another way to, work with a Unix Linux system. So this is graphical user interface. What I was showing you was command line or shell based interface, how to use that. All right. Good. The other example would be, now you have written a program.c using the server. So this file is on the server, as you can see here. It's on Everest computer. Now you want to copy that to your machine. Let's say you want to copy this program. You want to upload it to D2L, desire to learn homework. So what you'll do, you'll just drag and drop to your desktop, right? So let's see if that file got copied into desktop or not. Yes, so the file program.c got copied to my desktop, right? Now I can upload it into D2L or email it or do whatever I want. It's on my local machine. So that is about, Cyberduck. And the way the other software, WinSCP, will work, essentially the ideas are the same. It will look different, but the concept is the same. Accessing a remote machine using a graphical user interface. The third thing that I want to, the last thing that I want to show you is that I use Nano, ran that editor directly on the server, but it's also possible to work on your local machine and then transfer it to the server. Okay, so that's what I'm now going to show you. So this file I want to create on my laptop, and once I'm done, I will transfer it to the server. Okay, so that's also possible. So let's say demonstration is the word that I have put here. I'll save it inside, let's say desktop. Let's say demo.txt. So the basic idea here is you can write a C program or your assembly program here and also then transfer it to the server. So assume demo.txt is the file that you want to transfer it to the server. You can just drag and drop. So once you drag demo.txt to the file, you can also verify using the shell command. So let me go to my home folder. So I do cd dot dot. I'll do cd dot r one more time because I'm not on my home folder. Yeah. Now this tilde shows that I'm on my home folder. I'll do ls, and I can see that the demo.txt is here. So I can also inspect it, cat demo.txt, and it has the word demonstration, right? So I'm able to do that. So it's possible to write a program here and then transfer it. All right. If it does not confuse you, it's also possible to open a file from the server in a Linux computer. So if you're confused, you can stop the video here, But still, if you're following it, what I'm now showing you is that you can open a file in an editor and the file belongs to the server. That's where this file is. So this editor here, which I have, is called Textwrangler or BB Edit. Okay, so you may not have this editor in your laptop or desktop, but you can install it. So you can do Textwrangler Mac. Windows will also have some software that lets you have an editor that connects to the server. So you can install this software called Textwrangler. So I have already installed the software. So if I want to see a file from the server, what I'll do is I will click on the file menu or tab here, and then instead of do open, I'll do open from FTP SFTP server, right? So it's saying open a file from a server. So I click on that, and then I give the details, like what's the host name and what is your username and password. You can also give the total path. So the path is actually home, PDC shared, and backslash, right? So whatever you get here by doing PWD, that's the path it is looking at, home PDC share. And then you can do connect. And now it is showing you, right? So I can access now a program from the server, right? So hello.c is on Everest. I'm able to open it. So not only I'm able to open it, I'm also able to now work here. So I can actually change the program. Let's say I add a line, printf by world. I added this line, and then I press save, and it gets saved in the server. And you can also see that it is using this SFTP and the whole thing to work with this folder. So that also tells you that this file is not a local copy. This file is a remote copy, right? So hello.c, I made the change, and I will now use the shell or this terminal to compile the program and then run it. /a.out by world, which was the line that I just added from here. So this is actually easier method. So direct, rather than using nano or VI, one can use an editor and work on the server that you have, right? So this is easier, and that's what I actually do. If my file is bigger, it's easy to edit on your own local machine, make changes. So I'll stop here. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions in class.